a brand that is dedicated to scaling up the child through fun, hands-on learning. We provide non-screen educational learning resources like puzzles, building blocks, paint by numbers, threading games, and more. At Skill Play Consult, scaling up the child is more than just play. It is engaging and intentional. We help parents raise independent thinkers and problem solvers, one fun learning resources at a time. If you're serious about helping kids thrive, then we've got the right resources that works. You can send us a WhatsApp message on 081230 or follow us on Instagram at skill_play consult.
Hello parents, boys and girls. Welcome to the third edition of the Mastermind Children Conference, tagged the Young and Empowered Children Conference 25, with the theme, Building a Solid Foundation for the Future. Yes, this is our third edition and we are so excited to present to you an opportunity for parents to gather on a roundtable to discuss pertinent issues on how we can support our children to be the best version of themselves. Yes, it is also a platform where we give children an opportunity to use their voice, to share their experiences, and of course, impact their peers and a generation with what it is that they carry within. It also allows other children to get inspired by these children who have dared to try. So, boys and girls, dear parents, have you registered for this conference already? If you have and you are sitting, then congratulations. It is about to go down. So, my name is Maribel Chima and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and the proud maker of the Children's Mastermind Circle. And do you know, I am your favorite children's coach. Welcome to the 2025 Young and Empowered Children Conference. Let's go get transformed. Alrighty, and so we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fourth and the final session of today. And yes, this happens to be our Parents Roundtable session. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been such an amazing time with the children, starting with the first session. Okay, I started the intro in the morning, introducing, of course, and talking about the conference and telling the children why we put this conference together. All right, and then Coach Joy Eshimokai came to talk to them about why their voices are powerful and why they must learn to use their voice. It's been such a learning experience for the children. For me, it's been the energy of the children. We had two of those sessions, or is it one of them? Two of them in on the Zoom platform, right? So it was quite interactive, even though we had some challenges because Zoom, the kids can be, super excited, and so of course Zoom can have some of those issues. All right, the next session after that was on StreamYard, of course, so you could view on YouTube, where we had the panel session with Mastermind, a lot of our Mastermind partners who were sharing their journeys and the power of mentorship. All right, so this is your session, dear parents, where we will be talking about issues that affect us as parents and how we can position ourselves to support our children, like super in every way possible, how we can support our children in the biggest way, how we can support our children effectively. I am wearing a mom t-shirt because this is a parent session where right now I am not a matron, right now I am a parent, and right now I am calling every parent to take their position as a mentor parent so that we can give these children the best of us, so that we can give them the life that they deserve, so that we can parent them in a way that they do not have to reparent themselves, yes, from now. All right, so if you are here right now, Do you have your friends? Do you have your sisters? Do you have your neighbors? Do you have the parents of your children's friends? See, if you are doing this journey alone, ritual, it's not enough. If you're doing this alone, it's not enough. We need to bring in as many of these people who our children interact with or have close access to our children. We need to bring them to work this journey, as we're working to walk this journey side by side. If not, they will jeopardize your efforts because you will be working and it will be watered down by the people in the lives of your children. So this is what I do. If I find out my children have got close ties with anybody, it just simply means we will start getting close to their parents, and of course, we would get their parents to start learning some of the things that we learn. And this is very critical at a time like this. All right. So now I'm going to be introducing my guests. I have two amazing people with me who will be driving this conversation. Usually we'll have this conversation on Zoom, right? So that parents can actively contribute and talk, speak, and all of that. But we didn't want all the glitch that comes with Zoom, people going out and people coming in, noisy backgrounds, and all of that. So we thought, something, we can get active in the comment section. Hi, Gold. Hi, Grace Obona. Thank you for joining us. If you're here, don't just stay in the comments. These sessions are going to be very interactive. That's why it's important that you subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed before now. Hit the subscription button and also the notification button so that when we are live, you can come right here, and be a part of this. This is the first roundtable. We're going to have another roundtable tomorrow, and you don't want to miss any of them. So subscribe to the channel, and yes, the children will also use this channel. So subscribe anyway if you haven't subscribed. Invite those that need to be invited by sharing a link. Just pick the link and share the link with them, already. All right, so I'm going to be bringing my guests on screen right away. I have two amazing educators. Like, we want to bring you the best of the best of educators. All right, and because we work with young children, and we understand. So we understand now more than ever the importance of the foundation of our children, the importance of starting early, the importance of nipping what needs to be nipped in the bud as early as possible, introducing what needs to be introduced as early as possible, programming what needs to be programmed as early as possible, support what needs to be supported as early as possible. And we know that as parents, we get really busy sometimes. Some of us are learning a lot. We are learning a lot. But if you have young children, then you want to tailor a lot of the knowledge that you have to meet the needs of this group of children. And it's not everybody that can guide you to meet the needs of these children. If you come to the education sector, I promise you, it is the best of the best that you find who work with the children in the early years, like the children between 0 and 6. Now, we like to think that anybody can work with this group of children because somewhere at the back of our minds is just making sure they eat food, they sleep, and all of that. But if you know the windows of opportunity that children miss just because they have the wrong handlers during this phase of their lives, if you know what happens or what does not happen simply because of the people who handle our children, and that could be even us as parents, the lack of knowledge or the gap of knowledge or the lack of knowing what exactly to do, just because you are not listening to the right people and you are not getting the right tool for this phase of your child's life. So the tools are the tools are different. And the way you go about, this 0 to 6, and then, the next phase where you can nip a lot in the board between 6 and 10, very critical. And that's why we have brought you not just ordinary teachers, but teachers who are handling young children, who can tell you what can be done right now. Educators and parents, see that combination, it is crazy. So take it that you have 3 educators, in the house, and you have three people who work with children as parents in the house. So let's go there. All right, so I'm going to be bringing on the screen right away my first guest and speaker, my very own partner. And of course, if you are a mastermind person or you are a PTM person, then you will know my partner and our early years expert, Miss Alu Shapra, joining us all the way from the oil world, Abu Dhabi, and she's going to be on your screen right now. All right. Before no, she's not coming on the screen. We're going to read her bio very soon, and then I will bring them on screen. So, admin, please, can we get their bio before they come on screen? Thank you.
Alariwa Sheima Jennifer Shapera is an early childhood education specialist with over 10 years of experience across the UAE. She's a wife, mother of two, and author of practical resources like 25 Play Invitation. She specializes in play-based learning. I will share insights of the Young and Empowered Conference to empower parents to support their child's creativity. Let's welcome on stage Miss Alua Sheima Jennifer Shaper.
All righty. Can see we have another bio, don't we? All right, the next bio coming up soon. Welcome, Miss Alu. While we're waiting for the bio of our next speaker, it's good to have you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. All right. Miss Alu, you are muted. I can't hear you. All right, so our next speaker, our next guest is a man. Yeah, so we have a man for a difference. When we talk parenting, a lot of times you see women gather, but we went to look for a man so that we can have, we can have that flair. All right, so that we stop turning parenting into a woman's thing. All right, so my next guest is Mr. Emmanuel, and we're going to be reading his bio in a few seconds from now, and we'll be bringing him up on your screen. Admin, are you ready for us? Someone said, I'm looking great in my Mentor Mom t-shirt. Yes, sir.
Emmanuel Ogabiru is an administrator and certified Montessorian. He's completed various professional training and certification in educational psychology, Montessori methods, and integration of technology and learning, amongst others. He's created children workbooks and provides tools for teachers and parents to make learning engaging for kids. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let us welcome to the Young and Empowered Conference 2025, Mr. Emmanuel Ogabiru.
All righty, we have Mr. Emmanuel Ogabiru in the house. Good evening, sir. Can you hear us? Can you see us?
He's muted, just like me.
Okay. So I think he's having a bit of network glitch. He's going to come back, of course, no problem. All right, so Mr. Emmanuel is going to join us soon, and so we will throttle on while he's joining. While we're waiting for Mr. Emmanuel, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, why don't you take a second, right, or a few to subscribe to the YouTube channel right away and click on the notification button so that you get notified when we come live throughout this conference. All right, and then yes, Mr. Emmanuel is coming back and is going to be here in a bit. If you have also not invited a friend, a neighbor, a colleague, someone who needs to be here right now, why don't you take a few seconds also to send them an invite right away while we wait for Mr. Emmanuel, or while we start this conversation with Miss Alu, okay, who is in the house. I call her Miss Alu. Sometimes when you call teachers Miss Alu, people think, oh, okay, maybe she's single. But no, in education, that's what the children call us, Miss. All right, yeah. So the Miss is just, I think there's a history behind the Miss for teachers, right? So whether you are Mrs. with 10 children, they will call you Miss. So Miss Alu is joining us, as I said, from the UAE, where she is an administrator and a center manager, like the head of an early years center. All right, Mr. Ogabidu, can you hear us? Are you here, sir? All right, so we're just going to jump in. I'm sure he's going to sort this network issue. It's been really, really a lot, with the network. So we're going to jump right into our conversation. So, Miss Alu, we're talking in this conversation. We are talking about raising today's children for tomorrow's world. Right? We have children, who belong to this generation, and yet we can see a future that is fast paced. In fact, the world as it is so fast paced that we're wondering what will the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years be. And we are raising children who are 5 and 10, right? Meaning we're raising our children who will be 20 and 30 in the next 10 and 20 years. Yet, even we do not have an idea. That's the truth about it. As much as we want to visualize, as much as we want to, what do you call it, project, as much as we want to do all of this, we still can't hit our chest and say we know or we understand what the world is going to be like in the next 10 and 20 years. Yet we are saddled with the responsibility, or the responsibility has been placed on our laps to raise children who will survive, not survive, children who will excel in the next generation. So how do we begin to go about this? So my first question is going to be, from your experience, how different is the world that our children are growing in today from the world that some of us in our late 30s, our 40s, 50s were raised in? So how different are this world? Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, Marybeth. It's always a pleasure to be on here. In introducing or opening up, you answered that question for me. How different is the world now to the one that we grew up? You use the word fast, and that's how I'm going to describe it as well. I would use one word. The difference is the world is so fast paced. It's not like what it used to be in our time. Even everything, the technology, we have drive-throughs to get food, we have the click of our phones to pay. Technology has changed everything. Even the way that children are interacting and learning has changed differently. So I would say that one way that the world has changed then and now is it's become faster. Today we see everything moving really, really fast, and it's no longer that slow, lazy pace. Remember those Saturdays when you used to get up in the mornings with your dad? He would get the paper, have his coffee, take time. It's become, even as parents now, we are pressured or we're moving very fast because we always have a lot to do. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to go backstage to see if there's anything we can do to speed or to help Mr. Ogabidu with joining us. All right. So yes. I think you nailed that. It's fast paced and it's so different from anything that we knew as it is, right? Because now the next question I am going to be asking, or that we will be discussing, is how, as parents, right? Now that we know this, how do we as parents, acknowledge this and, apply this in our parenting? How do we acknowledge the fact that, hey, we are raising children in a fast-paced world, we are raising children in a world that is different from the one that we know? What do we do in parenting to acknowledge and to, do something about this?
The first step for we to acknowledge it is we don't need to close our eyes. We need to open it and tell ourselves the truth. And we need to understand that you cannot do it alone, or you cannot just wake up haphazardly. You need to be intentional. That is why platforms like yours, the parenting mentorship setup is very, very instrumental. It's very, very important. We need to understand that it's parents need to move from managing behavior to coaching children's emotions and how they're acting every day. They need to stop parenting for compliance. That is, they need to stop parenting to just get children to comply. They need now to parent for connection. This is how this is what they need to do.
All right, so yes, I think that's it. So a lot of times, most of us were raised and we were parents for compliance, and most of the parents who are here today,
Yes.
network, don't try me this evening. Let the network not try me this evening. All right. So a lot of us who are here as parents here, a lot of us belong to academics, and all of that. I know there are a lot of inner circle parents in here. So knowing that we need to move from parenting for compliance, to parenting, for connection is not new at all to us. But one thing that I've come to realize is um, while we are not oblivious of the fact, right, that connection is important. There is something that we do that does not allow the child really, align and begin to move or take this journey as a personal one, right? So in our bid, we understand. I mean, I know parenting starts with us. When we get it right, then we can work with the children. But a lot of times we forget ourselves, even in being intentional. And without realizing it, we begin to walk the children's journey with them and for them, right? We
Yes.
begin to walk it not just with them, but for them, right? Because the truth is, what we are supposed to do is we're supposed to walk with them and point them to start walking that journey gradually for themselves. But we get carried away because of our expectations. We get carried away because of the results that we are anticipating. We get carried away because of too much information that we have, and we don't even realize
Yes.
that the children are still we're still walking the journey, and we're making them walk the journey for us, and not just us walking with them and allowing them to walk the journey on their own. So that's why we say to parents, as much as possible, get your children into the space where your children begin to lead themselves or begin to direct themselves. Now, in leading and directing themselves, it's not by you saying you need to lead or you need to direct yourself. It's not by you saying, oh, you need to listen, right? You need to come and sit down and listen to Coach Maribeth. It's not about coming to sit down and listen to Coach Maribeth. It's not about coming to sit down and listen to anybody. It's about you ensuring that that child is hands-on and that child is practicing and doing and living that process every day.
Okay.
It's about you being consistent with the child, because we can be there telling ourselves we're being intentional, telling ourselves our children are even learning, from other people. But we do not realize that all our children are doing is listening to the adults and not really practicing this thing. I'm saying this because I'm into the mentorship system and I'm into the accountability system, where we have children come in and parents are more interested in what you are doing to get the children to do it. It's more of what system you are creating at home to ensure that while the child is being guided, you are helping the child to understand you need to take charge of this journey, and you're constantly asking, what can we do to make the
Mary Beth,
child.
I want to add to what
Yes.
you're saying. Part of the things as an early childhood educator, part of this, the most important skills that we work with children is on independence and resilience. This you said parents want to walk this journey for their children. They don't build that independence and resilience in the child. So it's by bringing the child on and letting them walk this journey for themselves. This is how they're going to be able to really exercise that muscle and come to the
Mhm.
place where they also understand that this is their responsibility and it's not just mom and dad that is going to be doing everything for me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Lu. It looks like we have Mr. Emmanuel in the building. Hi, Mr. Ogabidu. Can you hear us? We're so sorry you're going through this network glitch. Can you hear us now, sir? Okay, I think he's still sorting himself out. So,
Hello.
finally, good evening, sir. How are you doing? Our network now. Network, please let us be today. Just allow us. All right, parents, I can see your comments while we're waiting to see Mr. Emmanuel get back. Oh, okay, he just got thrown out again. All right, so yes. So yes, I can see comments. Someone said parenting, I mean connection trumps control any day, anytime.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Connection definitely trumps control any day, anytime. So when we connect, right? But what we're saying now, after that connection, we want to make sure that our children begin to self lead and self direct. And that is the part that is not the easiest, right? You putting your foot on the ground and not making the excuses. Oh, I'm talking, he's not listening. Or I'm trying my best. Or he doesn't like, or this. We will not move them to the next level. After connecting, we will move them to the next level until we begin to insist that means until we create a system and begin to insist that the child begins to lead themselves within that system. All right,
Yeah.
so let's go to the next question while we are waiting for Mr. Ogavidi to join us. All right, so Mr. Lu, we've talked about the children. I mean, how different our two worlds are: the world where we are coming from and the one where our children are. And then we've talked about, of course, the need to connect and not seek to control them. In other words, all right.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, where do you think is the place of skills in all of these things that we're talking about in this different era? Where
Yeah.
is the place of skills in all of this?
Well, Mary, I would say skills is the currency for adaptability. You said it's
Hmm.
not just about you being intentional as a parent, it's about the children also getting on board and doing it by themselves. The way, the bridge that will connect you being intentional and the child beginning to do it is the skills that they have. So skills are very, very important. I spoke about independence. I spoke about resilience, trying again, wanting to go again. It's skills. We cannot remove skills from all of this. We want to manage behavior skills. We want a child to be interested in discovering, in exploration. We want a child to communicate positively. It's skills. We want a child to start thinking honor, respect, discipline, faith. It's all skills.
Exactly. So, a lot of times when we say skills, right, the first thing that comes to mind is those hard skills, right? A lot of times, the first thing that comes to mind is the hard skills. Oh, can they learn to play piano? Can they learn to, do this? Can they learn to write this? Can they learn to do that? Right? So, these hard skills are very key. But now, remember, we're zooming in on children in the first 5 and 10 years of their lives. So, we're zooming
Yes.
on this group of children. And I want you to know, dear parents, that the most important skills during this phase, 5, 6, 10, this first phase, the most important skills that our children need are those soft skills that Miss Alu just spoke about. In my book, the mentor parents, right? I call them accompaniments, like the skills that accompany the other things that our children need, right, to be skilled. Those soft skills, those skills, alongside, the other things, whether it is academic excellence, or they are learning taekwondo, or they are playing football, or they are learning musical instruments. There are those other skills like resilience, right? Being able to teach them the place of discipline, and all of that. Now, the question is, let's get very practical, right? Let's get very practical because we are saying that it's not about the knowledge that we have, because what we are doing here, this conversation now, it's about sharing knowledge again. If we share this knowledge again and we talk about how what is important and what is not important, and we don't talk about the practical things that we can do to help these skills take place, then we have not finished this roundtable conversation. So now, what are those skills, or what are the ways that we can begin to teach, or what are the things we need to put in place in our homes that will teach resilience, that will teach discipline, that will teach, all of these things that we need to put in place before our children get to a certain, to this age 10 that we're talking about. We will come back to those skills that we need to, exact skills that our children need before they are 10. But let's assume in the first 5 years, how do we practically help them internalize resilience, problem solving, social connection,
Yes.
all of these things that we need. Yes, ma'am.
So for me, I would say from 0 to 5, the first three skills that any parent should focus on building or developing in their child should be emotional skills, you should be problem solving skills, should be communication skills, I would say 4, and it should also be empathy skills. Because if the child is emotionally regulating, then you many of the behavior issues will be reduced. As educators, we're using a term called emotional coaching, which parents can also use. So this skill is simply us giving our children the words for them to express and begin to talk about how they're feeling. For instance, you see your child um, sad, a scenario where you're emotionally coaching the child is, I see, you would say something to them, the script would go something like, I see you are sad because you did not get to play outside. It's okay to be upset. I get upset also. And then you've seen the child, you've acknowledged the feelings, you've validated them, you did not just take them for granted, and then you go ahead and you soothe. You give options. You say, okay, now we are going to take some time to eat, and after that you can go out to play. So you provide options. So emotional regulation using this emotional coaching is a very important skill that children need to have, especially it's not too early to start from the age of 2. So if you are a parent here that has young children, one of the very most important skills is emotional regulation. Even for adults, if you go back as a parent and reflect, even when you get in conversations with your spouses at work, sometimes the things that make you get so agitated is your emotions. But let's take it that you are somebody that could emotionally regulate. Your communication will immediately change. Let's say you had the techniques and the skills in place to, for instance, count to 10 before you speak, the words would come out different and not you just assuming things and flaring up. I spoke about having problem solving. We're seeing children where, because the parents are doing everything for them, even a simple problem, sometimes you would see them, a simple problem like on uncorking opening or screwing open a bottle, they will bring it to you to solve it. And we think it's just now we're helping them, their children, but this will continue to build. They will carry this behavior. They will be over 5, over 10, 15. They will become adults and they're still looking for, they'll pick up the phone. Mom, my light switch is not coming on. What do I do about it? Because they've not developed the skill to problem solve. They're not even thinking far. They've not thought that I could troubleshoot before calling my mother. So problem for me, one of the most important skills is that of problem solving. You will see, because even when they grow up and become married, even right now, I like to talk about us parents too. Sometimes there are problems that come up that you and your spouse didn't see. So if you've not built your problem solving skills, that means you're going to go all over the place, start telling everyone, and you will lose it completely. So another important skill is that of empathy. When children have the skills of putting themselves in the other person's shoes, even things like honor will not be a problem. We want to teach them to honor their parents. If they see and say, "Oh, mommy looks so tired. Mommy must be so tired. She went to work and came back and she's in the kitchen cooking." If that child has empathy and is putting themselves in your shoes, you won't need to yell for them to come to the kitchen and help you because they're already empathizing with you. So for me, and the communication skill is such a huge one. I like to be transparent. I think one time on this platform, I said, when I started working here, I struggled with that a lot because growing up, I wasn't given the skills to calmly communicate and bring my idea, um, bring out what I was thinking. There were times when I was actually right, but because I did not go about communicating it in the right way, it became my problem. So you don't know how powerful what does. How we want the children to be empowered, right? Let's not joke with communication. Let's not. It's such a powerful skill. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. I think you captured that so nicely. So you're looking at your 0 to 5 year olds, you're looking at your even up to 10 year olds. Get these skills in place and you will be preparing them for the future more than stacking money or whatever else we have told ourselves is what it takes to prepare our children for the future. Get your children to learn how to communicate. Get the children to learn how to empathize. Get them to learn how to control or regulate their emotions, and definitely how to troubleshoot and solve problems for themselves before they start jumping all around looking for everybody to save them. Such entitled kids we are raising these days if we're not careful. That's where it starts from. The need, that's where it starts from, when children can't solve problems and they feel somebody has to. It begins with Ekaite opening the bottle, Ekaite taking the plate, this one doing the thing because he's too small, he can't do it. And before you know it, it goes like full circle and the child is just entitled. Oh, Mr. Emmanuel was here a few minutes ago. I'm not sure if he's still here. Hi, Mr. Emmanuel, can you hear us? Are you here? Okay, so we had the session earlier on with the kids, the children panel, and one of the kids had really, really bad network issues. She was joining us, from Jos, and it got to a point she was so frustrated and overwhelmed. Her mom said she actually broke. She started crying. So you see what this network can do to us. But don't worry, we won't
Yes.
cry today. Okay, we are here, we are waiting. I'm sure at some point there will be a breakthrough. Okay, so
Yeah.
in the meantime, we will throttle on. All right, so we just talked about the place of skills, and we have said that the most important skills are some of the key skills that we take for granted. If we're going to have our children, or we're going to prepare our children for the future that we are all looking at, then we need to start doing the most important things that Miss Alu just talked about. All right, so let's move right to the next session or the next part of this. Okay. So Miss Alu, is there a need to ask, can you think of, the best 1 to 10 skills? You've talked about three important skills for like 0 to 5. If you were to add, right, some more to make that, even more for our children up to age 10, what skills would you
Yes.
be looking at?
Okay, I spoke about communication as well. The other skills that I would put for them is it's not too early to begin to learn also skills like listening. Listening is part of communication also, but it's also a very important skill to have. Goal setting goals is also a very important skill for the 5 to 10, because look, at this age they're moving to they're already moving to the higher grades, and they're getting loads of work. So if your child doesn't know how to set goals, that means by the time they give them work, they're going to be all over the place, and it's going to fall back on you again to get a lesson teacher, get someone to help them do it. So setting goals is very important. Organization and time management. These are very important skills also for the children to have. Most times, sometimes why we as parents, we come back and we're talking to our children and we're like, I said it to you before and you didn't listen, is because the child doesn't have that organizational skill. The clothes are all over the place. In the morning, they are always late because they are not organized. They don't have an organization system in place. So it's always a hassle to get them into the car. So also, it's very, very important for them to be organized. Another skill that I would say is very important for children to have is for them to be, how will I describe it? I spoke about problem solving, but being able, as they get older, also being able to solve complex problem. Like they see a problem, they talk themselves through the problem. This is where we are at.
Taking
What
initiative, right?
Yes, take initiative
Initiative.
and be proactive. So these are other skills that the children can have also as they move on. So
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. And then the hard skills begin to come in. All right. So when we
yes,
have these ones that drive the core of the child, the skills
yeah,
that drive the core of the child, then we begin to move things. I mean, in all of this, of course, we have our values at the back of our minds, and all of that. We have our convictions going side by side with all of this. I promise you. And then, of course, the hard skills begin to kick in. So by the time the hard skills, all right, alongside, sometimes these things don't have to happen one before the other. While you
yes,
are developing, hard skills, while they are learning those maths, while they are learning, the football, while they are learning everything, we must pay attention and we must focus on all these other skills, that Miss Alu has mentioned, so that by the time our children, begin to deliver on the things that we can see tangible results, we will realize that those things are actually fruits. It's the way you said, because our children don't learn these things. Before you know it, you are looking for lesson teachers, you're looking for people to solve these problems for them because we have not focused on the skills that are important. The child being able to organize themselves, the child being able to set goals for themselves, right? And in the mastermind circle, our peer mentorship and accountability group we run for the children, right? These are the things that we focus on. So by the time we share our 10 dimensions of learning, it is covering all of this. And so we get the children to actually set goals for themselves and break this down to daily to-do lists. What we're trying to achieve with the children when we make them put those to-do lists every day is we're trying to get them into that place where they set daily goals, small goals for themselves, and then stay on and achieve those goals. Do you know what it means that you have picked 5 things that you want to do at the end of the day? And then at the end of the day, you are able to, now look at those things and say, what did I do and what did I not do? What did I achieve and what did I not achieve? In doing that, you are already reflecting. We're already teaching our children how to reflect on their activities for the day, how to reflect on their actions, how to, weigh what was priority to them, and all of that. So by the time the children master some of these things, or at least internalize these things, you realize you're already setting the child, right for the future that the child deserves, really. And these are the things that we are talking about today, how we can build that foundation, or the things we need to do now to create or build the right foundation for our children's future. All right, come see, admin, please try and put Mr. Emmanuel on the screen. Let's see if it's any better now. We're so sorry, sir. We empathize with you. Okay, we know how it can be frustrating going back and forth. But hey, since we don't own our own network yet, we will continue to depend on the providers. And yes, Miss Alu, it's okay. Yes, we still have these issues in Nigeria. I'm sure you guys have it too sometimes too. But it's okay. Let's move on.
Very.
All right, it's everywhere, but it's just that our own plenty, sha. I know.
Yes, seriously.
All right, so let's go to the next part of this, okay? And we'll be looking at building future ready skills, right, through our children's childhood. What does future readiness mean? What does it look like, all right? And how does it differ, from one stage to the other in our children's life? All right, would you like to answer that, ma?
Right. Yes. So for me, future readiness is we're thinking holistically. We are not thinking about just now. We are not thinking about what children need, like the basic needs at that moment. We're thinking of how to raise a whole adult. So future readiness for me is how we prepare the children and equip them with these skills that we are talking about for them to succeed across their ages and stages of development. Yeah, so your child will go from preschool to elementary, will go to middle school, will go to the higher grades. So future readiness is all encompassing. It's everything from, let's say, from childhood to adulthood. That this is how I like to look at it.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Let me add there, of course. So we have we have a program that we run in the academy. Okay, one of the only or one of the few courses or programs that we do that is just for parents, because all we do these days in the academy, we run challenges where the parents will have to support the child to achieve something. So it's a challenge that can help the parents and the child connect. So you go through the challenge together. Like we have a challenge on that was supposed to take place in a few days, but we had to move it to March so that to May, so that we can give more attention to the parents and the children when they take the challenge. The challenge on activating your child's learning, activating excellence and learning in your child by creating an environment that invites your child to play. All right. So we do the personalized education plan, course. And that course or program basically is to help parents, do what we are calling, readiness right now. Like not just think of, what my children will, how my children will pass or what my children will do now and all of that. You are roping all of this together. You're thinking of this phase and the next phase and the next phase and the next phase. You're thinking of what the child should be doing right now at age 2, or what would we, graduate into or gravitate towards as the child turns 5. What plans do we have for when the child is 10? Putting all of this in place is you as a parent beginning to put a program. We call it the personalized education plan. And it's a holistic plan where you are planning not just for the now, but you are looking into the future. You're looking into the first 10 years, 15, 20 years of the child's life, and you are creating a roadmap for the journey to that stage of the child's life. Very critical, very important. And this is what I think Mr. Louis is talking about when we're talking about, readiness basically. Looking holistically at your child's journey and how your child is evolving from one phase to the next in their lives. All right, very key. Let's see if Mr. Emmanuel is here. And okay, I don't even think he's here right now. All right, this is not even nice at all, but okay, we are moving. So let's move, let's throttle on, on this. And so let's go and ask this question. We are people who work with young children, and there is no how we do this that we will not come back to play-based education and all of that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, can play-based learning really prepare children for the complex driven world that we are faced with, and how can we use play-based learning, right, to prepare our children for the complex world that we're heading towards. And then how can we do that? Can you
Yeah.
help? And if yes, how can we do
So
this?
if anybody has been on your platform, or they've been coming for like the trainings, the courses and everything, they know how passionate you are about play. Not just because play is a fad now, but play is the way that the children learn and explore about their world. This is how learning happens. Play is the language of learning. So learning has moved from where we as adults see ourselves as the more knowledgeable others, and we need to put the children in one place and we need to be talking to them. So play is the way that this learning is going to happen. And yes, it is play-based learning is a powerful way to learn. We talked about future readiness. We want them, future readiness involves them learning the emotional skills that we spoke about, problem solving skills, communication skills. Why not play? That's how the child explores his world. This is how I want the child to be able to emotionally regulate. I set up a play invitation where the child has to identify different emotions, and then he sees one of his friends sad or crying, and they need to role play what to do. That's where they're going to practice the emotional coaching from. So this is how they're learning. So yes, play-based learning in this time and age is a powerful, powerful way that parents can empower their children for the future. And remember that we said we're doing parenting now for connection and not for compliance. When children feel like coercing them, they're not going to really learn. But if it's through play, that connection is going to be formed. Because what does play, for play to be successful, it needs to be child-centered and child-directed. And when the child feels like you're listening to them and you're connecting to them, especially from 0 to 5, definitely you're going to see a lot of learning happening. I worked. I work with a philosophy called the Reggio Emilia approach. One of the principles of this philosophy is the image of the child, how the child is perceived. The child is seen as capable, being rich in potential. And how can you see that the child being capable or being rich in potential if you don't allow them play? Because, for instance, just watching a child maybe stack blocks will help them build problem solving skills. For instance, sometimes they will start with small blocks, it will drop. Then they will think, how can I make it balanced? They will start to test different theories. They will go ahead and put the big blocks, and then they will stack and they'll be excited. Oh, I did it. In that play based activity alone, they were able to meet the problem solving skills, and they were able to express that emotion of accomplishment. So, yes, it is a very, very powerful way to empower children. And to tell you how play based learning is so powerful, major corporations now are putting it in their offices. For instance, Lego has like a whole place where the staff can go and sit and play. And lots of offices, even out here, they have a play. The staff room is designed for play and relaxation, because that is how creativity is sparked. So yes, it's such a powerful way to empower children for the future.
All right, so because I was going to add that when you were talking, because I know how it is. Sometimes we're talking like this and we're talking play, and parents are already tuning off. Parents of older children are already tuning off, like, oh, okay, it is for children that are old. I mean, if it's for children that are young, right? So I like the fact that you added that offices and organizations and establishments are beginning to add play in the system, because they understand that play based work, right? They understand that even while you're working, taking time to play can actually boost, the moral and boost all of that, even for the employee now, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, parents, even for your 14, your 15, your 16, a lot of us, right, we belong to the inner circle where, of course, we have tools. Some of us have even turned the tools, right, that we do in some of these programs where we belong to, we've even turned the tools themselves to chores, because it's a case of, okay, we have a tool. Oh, come, let's do the tool of today. And before you know it, you don't even really factor play into it. It's about, okay, let's it be that we did it. So even in the play or even in the tools, it is it is rigid. Even the tools end up being rigid. Even you trying to achieve the tools end up being rigid. So what we're saying is, if you learn how to set your environment right with play at the back of your mind, you can actually set the environment for you to achieve those tools without it being as if, right, I am instructing you that this is the tool. So we can look at the tools, and that's why you should see how to get into challenges like, the play-based, challenge and all of that. You will look at the tool and you will say to yourself, okay, how can I set up my environment that naturally will pull us to doing this particular thing? Right. And so that's where creativity and all of that comes in. See, parents, until these children are old and they're on their way out, we will have to keep being creative if
Yes.
connection is the
Yeah.
goal for us.
Mary, let
As
me
far
just
as
add to what you are saying, what you said. Yes.
ahead.
Let me just add to this. Look, children have different learning styles. There are some children that are visual learners. There are some children that they learn by seeing. There's some that are kinesthetic. They learn by doing. Some are audio learners. Imagine that you know your child's learning style. Your child cannot sit still. They like to do. And then you are giving you want that child to start to write from 5. They are getting writing task. If you make it interesting, you know that, okay, this child enjoys playing with Lego. You ask them, okay, they gave a task at home, maybe write, begin to learn sentence structures. You ask them, take your Lego, build something, create something, and then write what you did. That child will be more stimulated to carry out that task. For instance, let me share a personal example. One of my children is this is how he is. He doesn't he's not that child that would sit down and read or follow a study guide. They were learning about the first indigenous settlers in Canada. And I thought about it. How can I make this interesting for him? And I knew that the way for me to do it is to anchor on what he loves. He loves creating like stories with, guess what? He's 10. He loves his Lego. He loves his superheroes. I say, okay. And they were part of the learning objectives is the children will learn about the trade and the way of life. I told him, take your Lego, build for me a community of the indigenous settlers. We had already looked at this study. Show us the different things that they had. And the indigenous settlers used to do things like farming, trading, and all of that. So he built the community. He showed those places. And I said to him, you see this thing that you've created? Go ahead and write me 2 paragraphs on this indigenous settlement. Talk to me about it. And imagine, I said, imagine that you traveled here. You are a visitor to this indigenous settlement. How would you describe it? And in this task, he needs to use for me connectors. He needs to use for me descriptive adverbs. He needs to use all of that a grade 4 student requires. So I made it interesting for him to be able to do. I know this because, okay, this is my field, but look, you don't need to be an educator to leverage on the power of play-based learning. It's huge, it's amazing. And come to think about it, think about us. How did we learn a lot of things when we were growing up? We would watch our moms in the kitchen cook, and after she leaves, we will through play pretend we're cooking as well. So it's
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So every time, dear parents, every time you hear play-based learning, don't think that all we're talking about is about your toddlers. We are talking about how you can make even your older children get
yes.
excited about learning a particular thing simply by inviting them to that knowledge. It could just simply be taking a drive and, passing a street that has something that you want to talk about. And while you are driving, you just use language, to point them to the things around it, and it becomes a conversation starter. And with that, you're already in that space. It could be anything at all. It could be that you even want to talk about sex. You want to talk about anything at all, and you can, nicely create something in your environment that calls the child to that learning, that requires some play and requires some relaxation. In that way, we're doing what we just talked about. We talked about connection, we talked about play. So you see, all happening at the same time, just
Yes.
because you decided to use play-based learning in helping your child. And in doing this, you can apply this even in their schoolwork, especially in their schoolwork. You can actually
Yes.
apply this, and go all the way with it. Thank you so much, Miss Alu. It's been so, so, so exciting. I can't believe we've done 1 whole hour. So we're
We
going
are
to take two
already.
more questions.
Yes.
Exactly. We're going to take two more questions, and we're going to go, even though we have many more that we wanted to touch on. So let's look at building a future ready child, right? Now,
Yes.
we've talked about readiness and all of that. So let's look at the parents, the role of adults in nurturing future citizens, right?
Yes.
What's the role? What our role is in doing this? What's one outdated parenting and teaching practice we must leave behind if we want to, move our children to this future that we're looking at? What role? And then I want you to dabble, since we're trying to squeeze all the questions in. What role does faith play in creating, in helping our children, in our role as parents, right?
Yes.
What role does faith play? I'm going to be sharing a story. I was talking to a cousin this afternoon, and all of this came in that conversation. So share with me your thoughts, Miss Alu. Thank you.
Okay. So, the first, for me, the outdated parenting practice that we need to leave is that children should be seen and not heard. They should just be there, but we should not listen to them. That is an outdated parenting practice. We need to see the child. And when I talk about, and we need to see and hear the child. And hearing is not just with the ears. Look, you need to listen for everything that is being said and what is not being said. This will help you really, really know your child and empower your child for the future. If you don't hear your if you don't really listen, there are things that you're going to miss. So that practice of saying children should be quiet, they should speak when spoken to, no, those that's an outdated practice. What should be now is you believe in your child as being rich in potential, so you should listen and you should create an environment where you give them the right skills. You people can connect, you can learn together, you can talk together. It's about doing all of this that you understand how they're thinking. For instance, now, something that I do with my 12-year-old is, as there are things happening now, like important things or world events that happen, I don't just act like she doesn't have an opinion about it. I go to her and I open conversations about it, because this is how I understand the thought process. You will be amazed on how the children now think. They're not like us. Like I told you before, the parenting that was done for us is compliance. If you want to succeed with this generation, you should listen to them and begin to speak the language that they're speaking, not compromise on the values and this thing, but you should be able to get to them. And they question every single thing. If you cannot hear them, talk to them and make them understand it. Have you even seen when we go to church, children are even questioning like the faith. So you need to really, really listen, talk to them, connect on the right level for you to be able to impact and influence and empower them for the future. So don't say, I'm keep quiet, I'm talking. No, just listen to what they're saying. Listen to what is being said and what is not being said. And then you asked again, what role that does faith play in raising the child? This, for me personally, it plays such a powerful, powerful role, because I'm going to now speak not just as I'm going to talk about my personal experience and how faith will shape your child. The Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all other things shall be added unto you. So for me, faith is a powerful, powerful way. It is in the Bible that we're learning about things like words, words, thoughts, what love is. So for me, the place of faith is so, so powerful. And we live in a world now where there's a lot of programming being done. If you don't have that faith foundation, your child is going to be programmed to believe any and everything. There are people that I meet here, they say they're not Christians, they're not Muslims, they're not Buddhists, they go with the flow. Anything, they believe any and everything. So for me, faith is such a powerful way. It shouldn't also be careful, parents, not to use it, because, and also the Bible warns you as parents not to use it to exasperate your children. So be careful. But for me, it plays a very important role in empowering children for the future. Because whether we like it or not, there are challenges that will come in the future that is not emotional regulation that will solve it. They will need something stronger and more powerful than that to be able to deal with it.
All righty, thank you so much, Miss Alu. And yes, back to this faith thing. All right, so, or the role that faith plays. Now, a lot of times, right, we do not, a lot of times we do not understand how powerful, starting early is. That's where I am going to come from, right? Starting early, and just as Alu said, paying attention to the child and seeing where the child is at on that faith journey is very key. We tend to think that, as parents, simply dragging our children into what we are doing is enough, but it's not. I believe very strongly that our faith convictions and the life that we live and what that life reflects is a better teacher, right? And it will affect our children's convictions more than anything else. So, in
Yes.
that faith, we need to bring our children into our faith walk as early as possible. Bring them
Yes.
and walk that journey with them. It still goes back to what I was saying at the beginning.
Teach
When
them in the
when we
way they should go, and they
Yes,
will not
when we
depart from
think
it
that,
when they're older.
exactly, when we think that because we have the knowledge, we have, all of this, we are attending this, we are attending that, we know everything right now and all of that, then we begin to walk the journey that we want through our children without working on their convictions. So, their parents, don't take it for granted that you need to work on the convictions of your children. Our children need to believe and not just follow us. They need to understand the why and not just practice what we practice. Our children need to be convinced about the things that we believe in and not just follow what we say. Because what we have found out is when all they do is follow what we do, it's a matter of time. Because the conviction is not deep, because the conviction is not, it's not deep, and we're not paying attention, to where exactly the child is on the journey. We just assume that the child is where we are. They're not. Okay, the fact that they go to Sunday school, the fact that they go with us for midweek service, The fact that they go with us to church every Sunday, home cell, and all of that does not mean that the child's conviction is right or that the child is in the right place. For some of us, it is okay, even if they get angry or they get upset, provided they do what we say they should do, following or adhering, or adhering to what we want them to do, and being convinced about what we believe in are two different things. I was talking to a cousin today. I'm Catholic, right? And I was talking to one of my cousins today, and she was saying something. We have sacraments, and things like that the children have to go through. And my son is almost 16, and he hasn't gone through, one of them, right? And she's like, why, and all of that. And I'm like, I'm not in that place with you people. I'm not in that place with you people where, just because it is an obligation, just because we should do it, he will do it. No, he's not going to do anything that he does not understand, right? He's not going to do anything that he doesn't understand through and through, from the faith end, from the denomination end, from the doctrine end. It's not going to be, it's not just indoctrination, or it's not just conforming to, a denomination. It's about understanding the principle, right? Understanding the principle, the biblical principle in
Yes.
this process that we want him to go through. So while he's going through this process, it's not just a ceremony for him, it is an understanding of the principle behind it. I'm talking about something that some children do at age 10 and 11. And I have an almost
Yes.
16-year-old that hasn't even done it. And no, it's not because I can't drive him, or he cannot take a ride, or he cannot even take care, or whatever it is that it takes to go and start training for this. It's because I need to understand that he's in that place in his faith journey where he understands it, and when where he's ready for it, and he's doing it because of his convictions, not just
Yes.
because we want him to do it. And this is what it is that we are looking at and we're talking about here. So there is the faith part in preparing our children for the future. But in that faith part, it's not just about, dragging them with us. It's not
Going
just
through the
about
motions.
indoctrination. It's about convictions. It's about them understanding the why and understanding the depth of what it is that our faith entails and what it is that we are passing down to them. That is what will keep them grounded, basically, in the days that you are not even there, or in the days that you are far. Because we see today, we see Jesus babies Jesus babies, proclaimed Jesus babies, and you're wondering, this Jesus,
Yeah.
they say don't judge, we listen, we don't judge. But basically, we want the convictions and the attitude to marry themselves, right? We want
Yes.
the things we say and the way they act to marry themselves. We don't want them or ourselves to question, where our children are really, because we don't understand. Are you in? Are you out? Are you there? Are you not? All right. So I think we have stayed for about 13 minutes extra, and we're going to be asking Miss Alu the very last question before we close for today. All right. So if there is one thing every parent or educator should start doing, no, before then, Miss Alu, let's marry this thing as an educator, right? Let's marry our role, right? Our role as parents. How can parents and teachers create an environment that will allow children to fail safely and then to grow? Right? How can our children grow, fail, rise from all of this? How can we truly prepare them for a future, right? And
Yes.
do this in unity as parents and as educators or as teachers?
As
Yes, ma'am.
parents and as educators, we need to celebrate failure. I'm talking about celebrating failure in a positive way. Let us make children understand that failure is learning. Failure is an opportunity to try again. It's not, it doesn't mean you cannot succeed. The Thomas Edison, the light bulb guy, says he tried, he failed, was it 999 times? I'm not so sure, but by the 1000th time, he got it right. So let us make children feel comfortable that failure doesn't mean it's the end. It should be a challenge, it should be a push for them to try again. It's not something to shame them, it's not something to put them down. It's not, it should be a driving force to try again. It's not something to feel ashamed of. Failure should be embraced as a learning opportunity. What did not work this time? What can I do differently? What can I change? When you give your children that mindset, there's nothing that they cannot try. And I tell you, myself and Mary Beth, we talk all the time. Some of our biggest constraints as individuals is fear. We are afraid. We don't want to go. And on the other side of fear is success. So once you tell your child they don't need to be afraid of failing, then you will see they will be able to achieve and attain a lot, a lot. Some of us we don't even want to try new things because we are in our comfort zone. We are safe. We will not fail. Nobody will see us. So let this is how parents and educators can work together. How is fear seen or failure? How is it seen? How is it given to the children? How is it passed on to the child? So this is very important. Educators and parents need to work on the partnership to use failure as a vehicle to try again and not to make the child feel useless.
Awesome. And yes, failure is in doing. How would you feel if you're not doing? All right. We
Yeah.
can't restrict and limit failure to the fact that the child passed the math or did not pass math. All right. Failure is beyond just school subjects, right? So
Yes.
failure is the child trying. Put the children in platforms where they have to drive themselves. We can't overemphasize this. Put them in platforms where they have to drive themselves. Put them in system where they can watch themselves grow. Put them in system where they can actually see their growth pattern, where you can see their growth pattern. Always put the children in systems where there are expectations and there is accountability. When there are expectations, then we now know, oh, are we falling short? Are we not? The child begins to understand the place of expectations, the place of setting goals, and then the place of either achieving those goals or trying harder to achieve those goals another time. So
Yes.
if we don't put them in that place, if we don't create those opportunities, then they do not even know what it means to fail. Some don't even know what it means
True.
to fail. If you are going
True.
to rely only on whether they failed math or they came tops in the honor roll or not, you're going to be telling your child that this is the only place in life where we are tested, passing and failing. That's why they finish school one day, they dump everything, and as far as they are concerned, they are done with life because this is the only
Yes.
place where there is an expectation. And we do that thing as parents where our children feel that it is only in school that they need to try, or it's only when it has to do with schoolwork that they need to make an effort. Every other place we take them to, they give us an attitude because for the longest, you have made school and achievements in school the only expectations that you have of them. So, parents, enroll your children for mentorship programs. Allow your children to learn skills. Let your children try their hands on, hands-on activities and things like that. Look for their superpower. I mean, identify their superpowers, get them to start doing the things that they love to do, that they enjoy doing, that they like. I mean, they're interested in practicing. Get them to do this. We don't joke with skill Fridays in the mastermind circle because we know that it is when they start doing that you will see them fail, that they will recognize their weaknesses, that they will work on a weakness, that they will support another person to achieve. It is when they do this, it's all of these expectations that actually create room for them to see and recognize failure and know how to get away from that failure. We have information scrolling on your screen for the next cohort of the Mastermind Circle that begins in September of this year. All right, you can book a slot right now and begin to pay small, small, so that by the time we get there, you are done, and that subscription is done for the entire year, and we'll be working with your 5 to 10 year olds for the entire year. This is the time to get them to start recognizing this thing right now. Right now is the time. Don't wait till later when they start rolling their eyes. At that time you will come back and you will be blaming systems. Meanwhile, it's because for the longest the child did not get into that space, and so it's now difficult now that they are teenagers or preteens. It's now difficult for them to accept what ordinarily they would have accepted easily at age 6, 8, and 9, 10. Now they are struggling with at age 10, 11, 12, 13, because you are coming to the party late. There is always hope, dear parents, but hey, the earlier we start, the better.
The best.
Thank you so much, Miss Alu. Your last
Thank
word
you.
is, and can you, in that last word, just say something about if there is one thing any parent or educator could start doing tomorrow to shape our children's future, what should that be? Even as you share your last word with us.
Yes. So if there's anything that a parent or an educator can start doing is to listen. It's through listening that you will make connections, that you will understand, and you will know what your child needs. Listen. And when I talk about listening, I always say listening is not just listening with the ears, with the eyes, the whole of you, listening for what is being said and what is not being said. So this is something I would leave to say. I say practice your listening skills. Many times as parents, we talk over the children. The child, sometimes, let me give an example. You want your child to maybe wear a certain thing and the child doesn't want to wear it. So sometimes if you listen, the child says to you, I don't want to wear that. It's silly. You can repeat this back to the child and say, you said you don't want to wear it because it's silly. So can you tell me how it's silly? Maybe when you start digging right deep under that thing are some insecurity issues. That child has not voiced that I'm feeling insecure. At 10, they start, their body is starting to form. They've not said I'm insecure, maybe about my body that is changing. But when you hear that, when you ask, in digging and listening for what is not being said, you will start to speak words that will affirm, talk to them about the changes in their body and how to make them be comfortable. So I would end on saying that to empower your child for the future is to listen, so that you can parent for connection. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Alu. It's been an amazing 1 hour, 22 minutes with you. And I am sure that our parents have, taken a lot from this session. Parents, please share with us in the comment section your emojis to appreciate this educator that has been here with us. Let's appreciate Mr. Ogabidu too. For all of the effort he made to be here. I know we would have, with him here, it would have been even, extra brought to the table. But hey, I'm sure you got a lot from this session, and those who will be catching the replay, all right, share with us. And yes, if you would like to be a part of the mastermind circle for your children between ages 5 and 10, go ahead and use the information on your screen right now. Screen grab it and use it to reach out to us to book a slot for your child. We have the number that we want this year because we're dealing with younger children, and we are, how in Nigeria parlance they say we die here. No, we live here with these
Yeah.
children. We want to grind those habits. We want to grind in those values. We want to deal with convictions. In fact, starting this week, we are even on another level after the conference, on another level of accountability with these children, because we know that, you see this phase, we don't want to joke with it. So let's do what we have to do today so that we do not have to repair or have to raise children who have to reparent themselves. Thank you again, Miss Alu, for being here.
Thank
Thank you,
you. It
everyone,
was
for
lovely
being
being on here.
here.
Bye.
Amazing day one from the children and now to the parents. It's been an amazing day. Thank you everyone for having your children with us, for being here. Thank you. We see you all in the comment section. Thank you, AB Love. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Tonya. Thank you, Tokwe. Thank you, everyone. We see you all, mastermind parents, all the parents. Thank you for joining us in this session. Have an amazing evening. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right, then. Bye.
My name is Kemi Oyewo, and I am Nifemi's mom. And we joined the mastermind cohort this year, and I can say for sure that it's been such a blessing. The fact that every teaching is layered on each other, teaching upon teaching, precept upon precept, gradually taking in bite size. It's not overwhelming, and the fact that somehow we've been able to now establish a routine for Nifemi is such a great thing. I'm so thankful to be in the mastermind with Nifemi, because of course it's first about me, and it's such a delight, and I'm truly grateful for the gift of Coach Mary Beth. Thank you.